Patrick Mahomes has built a business portfolio that stretches across baseball, soccer, Formula One, restaurants, and coffee brands. And the NFL has a rule that says if he ever signs the one deal he wants most, ownership of an NFL franchise, he can never play football again. But things have reportedly escalated behind the scenes, with one NFL owner allegedly furious after Mahomes made moves outside the league's control. New revelations have surfaced that could change everything and even threaten his future in the NFL. So today, we break it all down, because this situation could shake the entire league. In October 2023, Patrick Mahomes and teammate Travis Kelce made headlines outside the football world. The two Kansas City Chiefs stars led a new group of investors strategically pouring money into Alpine F1, one of 10 teams participating in the global pinnacle of motorsport. The Renault-owned operation saw a $210 million capital infusion over the summer, and the new group acquired a 24% stake in the Alpine team at a valuation of about $900 million. That's Formula One. Not football, not even an American sport, and yet this was the deal that set the internet on fire. Not because of the racing, but because of what Mahomes said right after the announcement. He said he might not stop investing in franchises until he reaches his goal for his post-playing career, which is ownership of an NFL team. He told reporters in Kansas City, "Eventually when I'm done playing, that's where he wants to be." He said he wants to have that competitive edge he's always had his entire life, but from the other side, the ownership side, and that's when people started paying attention. Not just to what Mahomes was buying, but to the rule that could stop him from ever playing again if he bought the wrong thing. In 2023, the NFL quietly slammed the door shut on players buying into teams while still active. The new rule bans any equity stake for players or employees, no matter the resume. MVPs, Super Bowls, generational impact, it doesn't matter. If you're on the field, you're off the ownership board. That rule exists because the league's 32 owners collectively decided that the people who play the game and the people who own the game occupy two separate universes, and they will never overlap. The new rules would disallow the likes of Brady and Mahomes from not only playing for the teams they own, but any team in the NFL. This wasn't a hypothetical conversation. This was a direct response to a real situation unfolding in real time. Tom Brady was becoming a part owner of the Las Vegas Raiders and would have needed a unanimous vote from team owners to allow him to play again. However, the NFL recently closed this loophole to prevent team owners from participating in NFL games. So the league locked the door. And Patrick Mahomes, the man sitting on a $450 million contract, who publicly declared he wants to own an NFL franchise, found himself staring at a line he cannot cross without giving up everything on the field. The 28-year-old who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs can't become an owner while he plays football. Period. Full stop. The deal he wants most is the one deal that would end his career the moment the ink dries. Now here's what makes the story more complicated than just one rule and one quarterback. Patrick Mahomes hasn't been waiting for retirement to build his business empire. He's been doing it in plain sight, one investment at a time, while still suiting up every Sunday for the Chiefs. Even though he's a Texas native, Mahomes has embraced Kansas City just as much as it has embraced him. In 2020, he became an official minority owner of the Kansas City Royals, bringing star power to the region's MLB squad. That was the starting gun. 1 year later, in 2021, Mahomes expanded into soccer, becoming part of the ownership group for Sporting Kansas City in MLS. He talked publicly about wanting to strengthen what Kansas City means on the national sports landscape. He told reporters, "I'm grateful for the opportunity to join Sporting Kansas City's ownership team and strengthen my connection to the fans and the city I love." Then came the Kansas City Current. In 2023, Mahomes joined his wife, Brittany, as a National Women's Soccer League Kansas City Current investor. Brittany has been involved with the team since its launch in 2021, and Patrick's addition brought even more attention. That season, the Current finished 4th and won the Summer Cup. Then the pickleball team. Mahomes also joined a star-studded investment group alongside Nick Kyrgios, Rich Paul, and Naomi Osaka that launched a professional pickleball team in Miami. Then the food business. Mahomes entered the food business outside of sports by joining an investment group to expand Whataburger locations across Missouri and Kansas. Thanks in part to his efforts, 14 new outlets have opened in the Kansas City area. Then, in 2025, Mahomes and Travis Kelce opened a steakhouse called 1587 Prime at the Lowe's Hotel, Kansas City. The name references their jersey numbers, 15 and 87. And finally, in January 2026, Patrick Mahomes launched a golf-focused apparel line in partnership with Adidas, further strengthening his long-term endorsement relationship with the brand. and marking his first major commercial venture into the golf industry. On the endorsement side, the numbers are staggering. It is estimated that Patrick Mahomes' annual income from endorsements and off-field ventures is approximately $28 million as of late 2025. This substantial figure, combined with his NFL salary, makes him one of the highest-paid players in the league. The brand portfolio reads like a Fortune 500 investor deck. He has signed endorsement deals with Oakley, Essential Water, Hy-Vee, State Farm, DirecTV, Adidas, and Head Shoulders. In 2024, Mahomes became the lead investor and second largest shareholder in Throne Sport Coffee. All of this, the sports teams, the restaurants, the endorsements, the apparel, is completely legal under the NFL's rules. The league doesn't care if a player owns a baseball team, a soccer team, or a coffee company. It doesn't care if a player invests in Formula One or opens steakhouses. But the moment a player reaches for a piece of an NFL franchise, that's where the red tape becomes a brick wall, and every single investment Mahomes has made looks like a man methodically building toward the one thing the league says he cannot have while he's still playing. Patrick Mahomes has made it clear over the years that his ambitions extend far beyond his playing days. The Chiefs quarterback wants to retire with championships, but he's also aiming for something bigger, like a seat at the table. And not just any table. He has his eyes on the ownership table. To understand why the NFL reacted the way it did to the idea of a player owning a franchise, you have to understand the owners' club itself. It is, by design, the most exclusive group in American professional sports. The NFL has been known for having what are possibly the strictest rules pertaining to cross-ownership among the major sports leagues in America. This has gotten the NFL into legal difficulties in the past, and as a result, its rules banning cross-ownership of teams in other leagues have evolved over the years. Due to court rulings and changing market conditions, the financial barrier alone is designed to keep all but the wealthiest people on the planet from walking through the door. With the 30% single ownership and $350 million debt minimum rules, the owner of the team has to be willing to write a check for hundreds of millions of dollars upon purchase. Even for billionaires, there are probably few that are willing or have the liquid cash to meet the NFL's requirements. For example, someone looking to purchase an NFL team for $2 billion would need at least $300 million in cash to close the deal, and the prices are climbing fast. In 1989, Jerry Jones paid $150 million for the Dallas Cowboys, what was then seen as a shocking amount for an NFL team. The club is now the world's first franchise worth $10 billion, and the average NFL team is worth $5.93 billion. The Washington Commanders sold in 2023 for a record $6.05 billion. Even after clearing those towering financial hurdles, a prospective buyer faces a gauntlet of scrutiny and politics. Buying into an NFL team means clearing massive financial hurdles, including liquidity checks, debt limitations, and ownership structure reviews. Then comes the vote. 24 of 32 owners must approve your bid, not just a handshake and a wire transfer. The league reviews everything: your finances, your business ties, even your reputation. The entire system is built so that 32 billionaires control 32 franchises, and nobody gets in without their collective permission. Now, for decades, the ownership model was simple: one person, one team. But the skyrocketing valuations began to create problems. Teams became so expensive that even the ultra-wealthy struggled to raise enough capital to buy in. So in August 2024, something historic happened. NFL owners voted to allow private equity firms to buy stakes in their franchises, a move expected to attract billions in fresh capital while boosting team valuations that had already been surging. During a special one-day league meeting in Minneapolis, the group loosened some of the strictest ownership rules in professional sports to allow private equity to own as much as 10% of a team, and a consortium led by former NFL star Curtis Martin. But here's the critical detail. These are silent investments. No voting rights, influence, or say in anything that happens between the lines. It's a liquidity play, and it's strictly for institutions, players, employees, or even wealthy superfans. Still shut out. Kansas City Chiefs owner Clark Hunt explained the reasoning at the time. He said one important goal was giving owners the different option for capital sources, but at the same time maintaining how we operate. The league will still be 32 owners around the table, making decisions and deliberating. In other words, money is welcome, Control is not for sale, and active players need not apply, whether they have 3 MVPs or $300. The NFL ownership table has room for billionaires and private equity firms, but not for the very athletes who generate the product those billions are built upon. Before Patrick Mahomes ever declared his ownership ambitions, another quarterback was already navigating the minefield. Tom Brady. Tom Brady has another new role in the NFL: owner. The 7-time Super Bowl champion purchased a minority stake in the Las Vegas Raiders, a deal unanimously approved by NFL team owners at the league's annual fall meeting. But the journey to that approval was anything but smooth. The deal was initially agreed upon in May 2023, but it took owners 17 months to give their approval, over concerns Brady was receiving too much of a discount from Davis. Brady's new job as a broadcaster with Fox also was an issue, because it could represent a conflict of interest. What Brady went through is the single most instructive roadmap for what Mahomes might one day face. Brady takes 5% control of the Raiders. He needed to receive 24 of 32 votes. The 47-year-old Brady can't come out of retirement and play again unless he sells his stake in the team. That last part is the crux of the entire Mahomes situation. Once you own even a tiny sliver of an NFL franchise, your playing days are over. There is no workaround. There is no exemption for 3-time Super Bowl MVPs, and the restrictions placed on Brady as a broadcaster owner were sweeping. Brady is not permitted to attend in-person or online broadcast production meetings, and may not have access to team facilities, players, or coaches. He also must abide by the league constitution and bylaws that prohibit public criticism of officials and other clubs. Brady's minority ownership in the Raiders got approved, but it came with more strings than a piano. Since joining the ownership group, Brady has been under strict NFL-imposed restrictions. No visiting other team facilities or attending practices. No involvement in production meetings with opposing coaches. And he definitely can't critique refs or teams on TV. The Brady precedent sends a crystal clear message to Mahomes. You can want it, you can plan for it, you can build your portfolio to prepare for it, but you will not get it while you're still playing. The owners made sure of that when they changed the rules in 2023. Pat McAfee explained that this was an attempt from the league to try and prevent future salary cap tomfoolery. The fear was straightforward. If a player owner wanted to take a below-market salary, to free up cap space, or funnel money through ownership channels to circumvent the salary cap, the entire financial ecosystem of the league would be compromised. Consider how that fear connects directly to Mahomes. The quarterback inked a massive 10-year, $450 million contract in July 2020. The 3-time Super Bowl MVP is a potential candidate for a contract extension before 2028. If Mahomes were hypothetically an owner of another franchise while playing for the Chiefs, the financial entanglements would create a web of conflicts that the league's competitive balance simply could not absorb. So the owners locked it down, and the Brady situation became the test case that proved just how seriously the league takes the separation of playing and owning. Even Commissioner Roger Goodell, while praising Brady's desire to invest, made it clear that the framework was non-negotiable. He told reporters, "This won't change a thing. This is 10% of a team. All it is a silent position that would allow access to capital. For those teams that wish to offer 10% of their team, silent position. Access to capital, not access to power, not access to influence, and certainly not access for active players who also want to own." So here we are. Patrick Mahomes is 30 years old. He suffered a torn left ACL in a December loss to the Los Angeles Chargers, and is pushing to be ready for Week 1 of the 2026 season. The Chiefs are coming off their first losing season in over a decade, and face decisions on multiple high-priced veteran players. The team restructured his contract in February 2026. The Chiefs converted $54.45 million of Patrick Mahomes' 2026 salary into a signing bonus, creating $43.56 million in cap room. Restructuring Mahomes' deal was always part of Kansas City's long-term plans. The two sides agreed on a 10-year, $450 million deal back in July 2020. The financial picture tells the story of a man deeply embedded in the league's economic fabric. Following his February 2026 restructure, Mahomes' 2027 cap hit is projected to soar past $85 million, likely necessitating a new multi-year extension by 2028 to maintain roster flexibility. He is quite literally the most expensive asset in the history of the sport. And yet, This same man has loudly and repeatedly declared that he wants to be on the other side of the table. He said in 2023, "Not until I own an NFL team. If I can get there, then I might settle down." He already owns pieces of the Kansas City Royals, Sporting KC, the Kansas City Current, and even a Miami-based pickleball team. He's invested in Formula One, fast food, fine dining, golf apparel, fitness technology, and coffee. Patrick Mahomes' business acumen is building an empire that will outlast his playing career. Now the question becomes, did the NFL owners actually ban Patrick Mahomes? The answer is more nuanced than a headline can contain. The league didn't target Mahomes by name. They didn't single him out. What they did was enact a structural prohibition that, as a direct consequence, prevents the most marketable and ambitious active player from pursuing the goal he's been publicly working toward for years. It's essentially 32 billionaires who collectively decided. No one, not even Patrick Mahomes, gets a piece unless they're wearing a suit, not a helmet. Mahomes himself seems fully aware of the situation. He isn't railing against the system. He isn't demanding exemptions. Instead, he's doing what he always does, preparing. Every ownership stake, every investment, every brand partnership is a building block toward the post-career goal. He has stated his ambition openly, acknowledged the barriers, and continued to stack his portfolio like a man who understands that patience is the longest game of all. Mahomes noted that making the NFL ownership club can be difficult, so he would look at buying into other sports when he's done playing. He knows the Commanders sold for over $6 billion. He knows the average NFL franchise is now approaching $6 billion in valuation. He knows he'll need partners, institutional backing, and the political capital that comes from decades of goodwill with the people who will ultimately vote on his application. And here's the final irony. The fans, the millions of people who watch the NFL because of players like Mahomes, were not exactly sympathetic to the owner's position when the news broke. He literally already owns the Broncos. One fan wrote, "He already owns 75% of the league," said another. Some fans used Mahomes as an example of someone who does deserve ownership. Now this is someone who can negotiate for ownership, not some unproven college prospect. One comment read, "So the NFL hasn't banned Patrick Mahomes in the traditional sense. They've built a fence that stands between the greatest active quarterback in the sport and the boardroom he's been eyeing since he signed his first ownership paper in 2020. He can see it. He can plan for it. He can invest in everything adjacent to it, but he cannot touch it, not while he's the one throwing touchdowns on Sundays." Whether that fence is protecting the league's competitive integrity or simply protecting the exclusivity of the richest club in American sports depends entirely on whose side of the table you're sitting at. And Patrick Mahomes, he's not rushing, he's building. One deal, one brand, one franchise stake at a time. When the helmet comes off for the last time, whenever that day arrives, everything he's been assembling will be ready, and 32 owners will be staring at a knock on the door they can't ignore.